Oh, Mr. 305. Good morning.
Martin, how we doing?
I didn't know if I was going to get anyone here for the 6 a.m. Lucky me.
Yes. I'm expecting a stampede of feet in about 2 to 3 minutes, but we'll see.
No, dude, we're just going to focus on breathing. It's all good.
Yeah, yeah. It should be nice and calm and quiet.
Beautiful. What have you done before for like any particular types of breath training? Anything particular?
Nothing now.
All right. So we'll do as much as we can before the stampede starts,
All
or
right. How did
6:20 hits.
5 a.m. go? Did you get some couple
It was good,
people?
yeah. Do you know Scriff Meister? Scriff Meister? That's his last name's Scriff. Ah, shit. I don't know his first name. He's a
That's all right.
box guy. No,
Did
I
he
just
put
had one this morning.
did he put Scriffmeister as his name on
I
Zoom?
think that's his Twitter name.
Got it. Does the kind
Um,
of chairman matter?
all right. Well, all right. Well, this is about dropping some knowledge bombs, getting you some reps, and then you can go about your day and and
Cool.
and go from there. So thank you for being here. Appreciate it. I'm excited to have you. Um, what I'll do is like I'll try to give you like one of like these five sort of like main blocks of this functional breathing. And the first thing we'll just bring some attention to our breath with counterintuitively in through the nose, out through the mouth. For other than the rest of the session, we'll do nose only. But just to bring attention to our breath and sort of wake us up a little bit, we'll do these like full breaths. So when you inhale through the nose, pull into your belly and then your chest. And as the inhale happens, your tongue should be in the roof of your mouth. And then on the exhale, push the tongue to the back of your mouth and slightly purse lips. I want you to imagine you're like fogging up a mirror. So we'll do three of those full breaths. So finish your exhale currently and in. 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 And then from here on out, keep those lips sealed and keep the tongue in the roof the whole time. So the very first of these five main blocks, I kind of think of it as a house. Like there's a roof, there's a foundation, and there's three pillars. So the roof that covers everything is nasal only. Like like there's just so much science behind not breathing through our mouth, both inhaling and exhaling as like a staple of what we do all day, every day, all night. I literally put tape over my mouth since I started learning about this. Tiny little piece of tape this big, like medical tape. And then I conk out right there. So it's nothing crazy. I used to put a big piece. It's just enough to like sort of send a signal to the brain that this doesn't need to be open. So the main focus for today's
You're
session.
sleeping, you said? You
That's
do
correct. While I sleep, yeah. There's a certain age where, for youth that it becomes dangerous where if they throw up, like that's an issue. But like for like adolescents and then like particularly in adolescence, it's so crucial to learn proper tongue position and leaving the mouth closed. It actually affects the way that their face grows. Like your jaw is in the correct position when your tongue is in the correct position. If your tongue doesn't find its home, your jaw is more likely to slip open. Your face will be a little longer. Your jaw will be set back. You'll have more dental problems. So really, in like the adolescent stage, our face gains its structure through our tongue posture. And if we have good tongue posture, we typically have a good spinal posture. So those two things are related. And really, those are the first two main categories. That's the roof and the foundation. The roof is use your nose, like that is the breathing organ. And the foundation is posture and relaxation. Being relaxed and having good posture will improve your breathing right there. So The three pillars is really where it takes like the mind to actually control our breathing. And the first of those three pillars is what's called light breathing. So I'll show you just a little graphic here. This beautiful graphic I made on Zoom last night. And just got this here just for reference. So light breathing. So this is, time and then versus air in your lungs. So this is your normal breath, what you're used to doing. Don't change it. Just bring your attention to like, okay, like how long am I inhaling? How long am I exhaling? And just be consistent. And before we switch to light breathing, with that attention focus, bring attention to like feeling colder air enter your nose and feeling warmer air exit. And then now what you're going to do is do your best to now switch to this different cadence, which is basically just taking in less air on purpose, as well as slightly extending your exhale, and then actually pausing for a brief moment before that next inhale. This pause moment is crucial. That's where we're going to get a lot of the work done in increasing our body's tolerance to carbon dioxide. That is essentially, in a nutshell, the whole purpose of this is to increase our tolerance to carbon dioxide. So that'll make more sense in a couple minutes when we really feel that. So as you breathe lightly, you want to avoid this last section, this oopsies. So if you take in like really not enough air and try to make that like your light breath, you're more likely going to like take like a quick short breath uncontrollably because you let too much CO2 build up. So you're really trying to live in this zone right here in the center to get less air than normal, but not so little that you lose control of your breathing. Right. So this concept of light breathing. A really good analogy for this is to literally imagine like a mist over a lake, like early morning mist over a lake, and think about like a fog, like how slowly that fog kind of moves. That's how slowly you want to pull air into your nose. So you shouldn't hear it. The person next to you certainly shouldn't hear it. And then if you get really, really good at it, you shouldn't hear it on the inhale or the exhale. So that's our light breathing. It starts to change our biochemistry. It starts to build up CO2. So you want to get to the point, and you can do this on any of these breaths, that it feels like I want to be pulling in more air. I'm just sort of deciding not to. And that's what it should feel like almost the whole time. Um, you might get to the point where you kind of feel contractions because you're not giving yourself enough. And then maybe you know, taking like a short breath. But then if you just get quickly back to this, it's all good. Your attention is there. That's ultimately the goal. So that is the first of those three pillars holding up this house is light
And
breathing.
how long do you do that for? Are you like train obviously
So
like
this
intentionally
one,
do
this
that?
one's great because the light breathing, once we get those other two pillars, it's really you're mostly focusing on light breathing. And this is like ideally something you would do like while you're at rest. You could do it like as you get better at it, you could do it like while jogging or while walking. Um, but mostly you're just doing this while you're like maybe sitting down, like chilling, reading, doing computer work, and just allowing some of like the noise in your head to go towards this. Um, so kind of all day. It's one of those things where as you get used to breathing less air, that'll translate to you getting breathing less air while you're asleep. Like how you breathe in the day is going to affect how you breathe at night, and then it's first thing in the morning when you wake up. Your breath right now is built off how you just were breathing. That whole sleep. So, and then we just try to optimize that as we go. Um, so if you were to say like, oh, if I'm going to just focus on this, maybe like a 5-minute session, and that should set the tone so you can take way less attention away from that. Um, and hopefully just keep that same level of respiratory rate. So that's light breathing. The next of the three pillars, um, is the depth of our breath. You know, like if someone says deep breath, I think there's like a really big misunderstanding. People think a deep breath instantly means big. Like those breaths that we started with, those were big breaths. You know, we were filling our lungs. The depth should just be a function of how low the air goes, right? So, like really deep breathing should just mean diaphragmatic breathing. So, another beautiful graphic here. You're gonna love this one. Pasted together a couple pictures. Really high level stuff here.
When did you get
All
the
right.
art degree?
Yeah, that's right. These, you know, they basically all say the same thing. And what you want to understand here, what we will all want to understand here is when we inhale, we don't want our chest to move. We want our belly to move outward, right? So one of the things that helps with this is like focusing on finishing your last exhale first. And when you finish that last exhale, your diaphragm should actually move upward into like underneath your rib cage a little more. So if I finish that exhale, and then on my next inhale, the diaphragm is going to drop downward and then expand out and laterally. So it's not just about pushing your stomach out as you breathe in. You also will have lateral expansion of your rib cage. So this is a really good way to kind of make sure you're doing it. Is actually put your hands on that lowest most rib bone and just sort of get used to where that is right now. Finish an exhale, and then on the next inhale, you should feel those ribs slightly expand, and then exhale, those ribs will slightly contract. And then as you're feeling this movement of the rib cage with each breath, the chest should not be moving, you know. And if the chest is not moving at all and everything is down there, then we're breathing diaphragmatically. You know, that is the real key to triggering a parasympathetic response is breathing into the diaphragm. So um, you know, it's just the opposite of our fight or flight, right? Like it's a chronic issue in today's day and age because people are stressed out all day every day and no one's trying to fucking kill us. Like we don't need to be in fight or flight mode. So this is a really good one just to have in your back pocket when you do feel stressed. If you just pull one breath of air into your diaphragm really well with good posture, um, it'll chill you out. You know, it will activate that parasympathetic response. So this one is what's called the biomechanics. So the first one was biochemistry, where we're like taking in less air, it changes the chemistry. And this one is the biomechanics. It's like, where is that air actually going? Um, and we're trying to make it low. So that is the concept of breathing low. And then lastly, I'm not going to really spend too much time on this, and we're going to get into just like a quick exercise. Is the third pillar, right? So we have the roof is the nasal only. The foundation is posture and relaxation. Pillar one is light. Pillar two is low. And pillar three is pace or cadence. There's an ideal breaths per minute that we want to be taking. The American average is 18, somewhere between like 14 and 18 breaths per minute. Um, that is quite literally hyperventilation. You know, a lot of us are hyperventilating, and you can't tell because we're not taking in huge breaths with each one, but we're breathing so fast and light, but the pace is an issue. So we're never actually really able to get into that true parasympathetic state. Um, the ideal pace is 6 breaths per minute, 5.5 to 6 breaths per minute. So one breath every 10 seconds. That's where like the human body is functioning the way it's supposed to. Um, that could be 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. That could be 4 in, 6 out. Could be 4 in, 5 out, 1 second pause. And that's kind of what you were seeing with the light breathing diagram. Is that 1 second pause is like so important when we get into the training of like, you know, we haven't really done any exercises yet, right? I mean, you could consider focusing on lighter breathing and focusing on lower breathing. Those are sort of exercises, but um, what you'll see in a second here is like this can be trained. And this moment right after the exhale that you sort of just wait for that next inhale, what'll end up happening is your diaphragm will start to contract itself and pull that next breath in for you. You don't have to do as much work, right? So here's what we're going to do. We'll do a 2 rounds of a minute plank hold. So top of a push-up position. And what I'll do is I will literally just count to 60 as you're doing this. So as I'm counting, all I want you to try to do is inhale for the first 4 or 5 seconds and exhale for the last 5 or 6 seconds. So try to start each inhale on a 1 and finish each exhale on one of the 10s. All right.
So I'm going plank position right now.
Plank position.
I didn't know I should have put on spandex for this.
Yep. And then, ideally it's light and low at this pace. All right. So finish your exhale and in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Try to pull into your belly. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60. All right, now come back to that seated position you were at. Now that your heart rate is probably just elevated slightly, see how quickly you can get back to like perfect light and low breathing, ideally at that same pace. And this is the other opportunity to now focus on that pausing moment. And again, the focus, not the focus, the intent is to increase our tolerance to the gas CO2. So what we're going to do is pause after an exhale a little bit longer. So let's go in, and then on your next exhale, pause for a count of 5 and just kind of feel that like uncomfortableness. That is a buildup of CO2. And then go and then pull that next breath in and maybe take 2 or 3 breaths to get back to like a normal pace where you were before that plank. You should still kind of feel maybe your heart rate's a little elevated. And then again, you're going to do a 5-second breath hold after an exhale. So we inhale, we exhale, and then we just wait to take that next inhale and live in that. It's both uncomfortable, but it's also relaxed. You shouldn't be tense as you hold that exhale. So I just call it like a negative breath hold because we have no air in our lungs. So those 5-second, just lastly, with that graphic, those 5-second breath holds are happening right here. You're taking that light breath in, you're letting it release. It takes 0 effort to exhale. Like we can push the air out. Like a simple analogy is you think of like your diaphragm and your lungs as a balloon. So as you fill that balloon, you have to actually pull that air in, either consciously or subconsciously. That takes work. But then when you're done blowing that balloon up, you don't have to like squeeze it. You can just let go and it will just deflate on its own accord. So that's like, if you like were to look at an ECG or like put yourself on a pulse oximeter and really focus on your breathing, you'll actually see your heart rate slightly spike on your inhales and then slightly drop on your exhales. So the exhale is the key. And that's why we hold after the exhale and we maintain that relaxation through the breath hold. There shouldn't be tension there. And then lastly, this is where you can warm up, which is what we did at the beginning. This is also a way you can cool down. So when you're getting after it and you feel like your breathing's out of control, do a couple of these, what I'll call full breaths that we started with, and it'll either chill you out or again, it can get you going. So we'll just finish off with those 3 full inhale, expansion of the lungs, and then out through pursed lips with the tongue in the back of the throat. Ready? In. 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 All right. And that's our class. So our main focus was breathing at rest, and hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks, Martin.
You're welcome. I'm glad we didn't get any intruders.
Yeah, I hear them downstairs, but what? So I mean, maybe you'll get in, like, assuming you continue working through, like, when you're breathing, when you're working out and stuff like that.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. So yeah, it'll be like a progression each week, like where I'll do more of like the exercise type stuff. It's like, dude, it's so overwhelming with information. Like when I got this certification, it's like, 10 2-hour classes, and like 90 minutes of those 2 hours is just like the science behind like the Bohr effect and like the hemoglobin delivering the oxygen to the muscle tissue. And like, it's just like, I'm watching it. Like, you don't need to know this shit to start practicing, So I was just trying to make like something real short and sweet. But yeah, I mean, I would say don't go crazy, but I would experiment with some mouth tape. And like when you're wearing a mask, it's inherently going to make you breathe lighter. So it's actually really helpful. So if you want to like try something out that would be like really helpful, you would tape up just a light piece of tape, wear a mask, and go for like a nice easy jog and see how like light you can keep your breath. And then if you want to mix in like some more challenge, you would test out as you're jogging, you would exhale and see how many jogging steps you could take before that next inhale. So maybe it's only 5 and you could build up to actually like dozens. And then the challenge becomes when you start to breathe again, how controlled is it? Did you push it so far that your breathing becomes irregular afterwards? So yeah.
What is the benefit, the end goal? Like, what's your goal at the very end of this, to be able to
Yeah.
very, very
Yeah. So basically, I mean, like the end goal is to increase tolerance to CO2. And like we didn't test. There's 2 like main tests you can do. But that is the goal. That is the goal. And the reason that is the goal is when your tolerance to CO2 increases, basically the amount of time it takes you to fatigue increases. Your ability to like go hard as shit and then come back to where you are right now will happen faster because of that increased tolerance to CO2. It's the same effect that like happens naturally if you live in the mountains, right? They're breathing less oxygen every day, every single night. And so their body is accustomed to higher levels of CO2. So if they were to come down to sea level, they have an excess of oxygen because their body is more efficient. That's ultimately the goal, is to become more efficient with breathing less air. And if you want to take like a more holistic approach, like from a longevity perspective of life, what the fuck? You like it's thought that you don't have like a set amount of time, you have a set amount of heartbeats. And so when you learn to really activate the parasympathetic and become more efficient with how much air you're taking in, your heart rate, your resting heart rate will go down, your heart rate variability will go up, which is, that's like the new like favorite stat is like heart rate variability. And it's
Yeah.
very real. Like the better your heart rate variability, the better shape you're in. The harder you can go, and then you come back down, and then you can go hard again, and then you come back down. So that is ultimately the end goal. Like this has like emotional effects. Like your mood will improve, your focus will improve. Um, so just like day to day, like, anxiety going down. But like for like people that are really trying to optimize and like perform at their highest level type of thing, this is like just a huge world of like a new focus that's just not mainstream.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I appreciate you sharing that with me.
Yeah, of course, man. And and like you're like a perfect, like I'd love to keep this conversation going, like especially with your kids. This is something that like I'm gonna be at some point taking very seriously with my children. Like they make like a tape that goes around the mouth. So like it kind of presses the lips together, and like, dude, I mean, I think my ADD, I think my braces, I think my like behavioral problems when I was growing up, all could have been completely minimized by learning some of this stuff. Um, so yeah, it's interesting with like the facial structure, like that it's very real. Like you'll see people, and you'll start to notice how many people chest breathe as you start to bring more attention to it yourself. Everyone's up here, and through the mouth, like, and especially with talking's really hard to like talk and breathe well at the same time. Um, so like when you're coaching, like at the end of a coaching day, you're fucking gassed. Like even if you didn't like do that much work, if you just talked all day, teachers like same idea. Like they get so tired because we're like hyperventilating the whole day. You know. Um, anyway, I want to fucking rant. So yeah, man. As questions come, just hit me up with questions, because this is like it's super helpful for me to like try to share what I've learned to like a wide variety of types of people that have different ambitions and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll keep the conversation going, and thanks for joining.
Cool. Thanks, Marty. Well, have a great week. I'll see you next week.
All right, brother. Yeah, sounds good. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Peace.